What's going on, guys? JayDYGO, and today we're back with another undefeated Sprite deck profile. This deck just did so much good work on Sunday. It was tearing apart boards, it was just setting up so much stuff that your opponent just couldn't play through. And the spicy tech on all of it is Eradicator in here. Yeah, Eradicator in the main was a decision I made right before I walked in. And I was thinking, I could pull it off. Like, the way this deck is built, I could easily pull off Eradicator every single time if I saw it. And I saw it a lot on Sunday, so a lot of folks were very, very unhappy to see that. But it made an easy choice to side out too, because if you're going second, side it out, put some board breakers in. Going first again, set it up, kind of like how people would do with D-Barrier. Just set it up and then it's over for them. I hope you guys are very excited to see this deck profile. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for updates, for combos. It's all here. It's been a long time. Mine's banned now, so this deck has changed, so there's no cosmics in this one. But now the deck just does so much extra good work. Alright guys, let's jump into the deck profile. Now before we jump into the profile, make sure you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Many of you guys are still not subscribed to my channel. You guys watch my videos, but don't hit that subscribe button. I don't know why. But please, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Help me with the algorithm. The more you guys interact with the video, the better the video goes out. And then once we get 1,000 subscribers, guys, we're going to have a tournament, a giveaway, some awesome prizes for that tournament, and just a bunch of really cool stuff. So I hope we get there pretty soon for you guys as well, and I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Let's jump into the deck profile. So of course for the Sprite deck profile, we are playing 3 Sprite Blue still. Sprite Blue, still super good. Don't forget on special summon only, you add a Sprite monster. So this card comes up greatly. Next we're playing 3 Sprite Jet. Sprite Jet on special summon gets you a Sprite spell or trap. Now that we have a trap, it's been way nicer to actually add double cross. And then for my last 2 Sprite monsters, I'm playing Sprite Red, Sprite Carrot. I wanted to play Pixies, I just haven't had a situation where I was like, I really missed it. But these 2 seriously did all the work you could really do, so I like this lineup right here. For the rest of the Sprite cards, we're playing 3 Sprite Starter. Seriously, 1 card starter with Sprite is insane with this. 1 card starter, right? Moving on, I'm actually only playing 1 Smashers now. Smashers at 2 in my last profile was necessary because mine was very prevalent, so I didn't want to worry about it. But now how the format's changed, where I just have to worry more about the Yugioh tier stuff, I cut it down to 1. 1 actually has been very good. I've never had games where I've been like, dang, I wish I had a second Smashers or anything like that. So yeah, it's just the 1 Smashers there. And then last card in the Sprite lineup is Sprite Double Cross. This card is so nutty. Literally makes you have 3 Omni-Negates when you have it set with Toad. And then you start stealing monsters from your opponent's grave or on their field and attach it to your Gigantic. It's just so good. But yeah, that's it for the Sprite lineup. Let's move on to the other parts of the deck. So moving on to the next part of the deck, more of the water lineup. We're playing 3 Nimble Beaver. Beaver is such a good card. Like, why is it a level 2 and why is it just synergized with the deck so well? I mean, I'm not complaining. It's just, I can't believe that we have this. And then for 3 Beavers, we have 2 Anglers. So Angler, you need to play 2 now because the normal line is Beaver, special Angler from deck, and then you use those 2 to make Sprine. You dump the Angler and get out the rest of the Beavers. I'll show more in the combo part of the video later on, but yeah, you have to play 2. I honestly don't know why people have been playing 3. I saw a list or 2 where they had 3 Angler. Not sure why that's popular, or people are playing 1. I don't know, I feel like that's definitely not the move. But yeah, I like this ratio, 3 Beaver, 2 Angler for sure. And for the last of my water lineup, we're playing 3 Swap Frog. A lot of folks were playing it at 2, and that's definitely not the right call because I feel like you need 3. Because in the hands where you open up a Swap Frog and an Angler are just so necessary to get that 3rd Swap Frog, because that way you can pitch your Angler and then still have 2 more to go to later. In other ways, I also like to send the 3rd one after I special it back off Elf, the 2nd one. That way you can kind of deck thin and just kind of get to the right cards. But yeah, I always felt like 3 was a better card because it's just, it's good too. Like, what if you don't open a 2 or a proper 2? So you just normal Swap Frog and you do your line anyway. You normal Frog, Specialist, Sprite, you keep going. But yeah, that is it for the water lineups. There's a lot of water monsters in the main deck. Alright, so we'll move on to the power stuff now. So for the power part of the deck, we're still playing 3 Fenrir. This card is just so cool. Seriously, being able to just special it and then go into battle phase, make sure they get rid of something. It's always really good. So a lot of folks definitely don't know, I guess people still haven't properly responded to how this would really interact. But no, seriously, such a good card. Go in second, go in first. Just helps you have another body on board. Next, we're playing 3 Unicorn this time. So I definitely expanded the Cashtira lineup in this deck. Unicorn, really great because you can just rip a card from their extra deck, of course. And it just does so much good work because it also searches out a really awesome card. Cashtira Birth, seriously, a monster reborn, and then if your opponent activates a spell while you control a Kashtira, you banish 3 of their cards from their graveyard face down. Super solid. Seriously, like, Unicorn and Beaver make an insane board. Just like those 2 cards make you an insane board, and I'll show that in my combo part as well. But yeah, expanding the Kashtira lineup was really great because it came up so often in my plays on Sunday, so a lot of folks were just expecting Sprite stuff, but then I start bringing out Kashtira stuff, and they're like, what the hell is going on? It was literally just a powerhouse of a deck. So that's going to be it for the Kashtira lineup. Next, I'm playing 3 Bestial of Magnemite. This card, seriously, is just so good. I mean, quick effect DD Crow, tier hate, you know. Also, it adds any dragon. At the moment, I'm only playing 1 other type of dragon. I'm playing 2 Bestial Druvis Worm. Moving on, when I take it to like a regional or anything, I may up the count to 3 Druvis Worm and maybe add some Serenir as well. But at the moment, this has been the perfect ratio between Kashtira and Bestials with the Sprite deck, so that's what I like right there. So just 5 Bestials. Normally it's 6, but I don't know, 5 seems like perfect for me. So that'll be it for all like the main powerhouse stuff there. Moving on to hand traps, I'm still playing like the same hand traps. Just 3 Ash. Seriously, so good. People, you know, Branded Fusion's still out there, so you hit that. I was thinking about moving the Ash out for Serenir, but I'll have to think about that still. Next, I'm playing 3 Imperm. Imperm seriously does some good work. Sword Soul's making a very big popular comeback, so Imperming their Baron on your turn, or Imperming a very crucial part of their deck. Yeah, it's just been very good still. And then for the last cards of the deck, I am playing in the main 3 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. So this card has come up so often, and the fact that it's been able to be utilized in Sprite is just kind of like a cherry on top for me. And then like, oh, why in the hell are you playing it for everybody else? So the reason I was able to get in this, because I was thinking like there's so many monsters that I can do with Eradicator. You have Gigantic Sprite when it has a different material under it for like Link, Fusion, Synchro, XYZ, that you can make it 32 pretty easily. So you have like UV for this, and then you have the Bestial monsters, so you have 5 other cards that you can just trigger off this. So a very fun one was Eradicator, tribute the Druis Worm. You trigger the Druis Worm, and then you look at their hand, so you pop a card also. So late game, that's really been fun. But then Gigantic Sprite, when you have your normal board of like Elf, Unicorn, Toad, all that on top of an EEV that you can get off, it's over the top, just like disgusting. But it's just so much fun. Moving on, like I said, for a regional, this may not be in the main. I'll have to really think about it because it's like it came up every single game, so I'm not sure. But yeah, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's move on to the extra deck. So moving on to the extra deck, we're still playing 3 Sprite Elf. I like this at 3 because the grind game is really good, and then there's sometimes where you just need to waste one of the elves to make a Gigantic again. Like some folks are still imperming or veiling the Gigantic on summon without letting you use the attempt to use the effect. So just, you know, link it off, make it again. But yeah, so sometimes I'll have to burn through an elf. But 3 elf is great because the grind game is very solid as well. Next we're playing 1 Sprite. Just 1 for right now. I feel like this card is really good, but I definitely don't need more than 1. The fact that you can just send any level 2 is just insane. So Tier's Place, send Merly, you send Angler, you can also send Scattershot the Burn in Time. But I actually use the second effect a lot too. Like a lot of folks just like, they cut off a line of some sort where I can't go into like an elf or another way to make like another link. But ending with Sprine, Gigantic, or Toad, and then just, you know, using Gigantics with a special, and then Sprine triggers, so you detach, and then you just bounce back one of your opponent's monsters or cards. It's just so good. Next, we're playing 3 Gigantic Sprite. So 3 Gigantic is definitely the move for this Eradicator line. Mainly because now you tribute one of these off, so you have your opponent's like hand to look at, and you still have 2 more to go into. So a lot of folks think you're still on 2, so when you tribute the 1, they're expecting 1 more in the extra deck. But then when you start going to OTK them, you make 1, you make 2 with 32 under each, and you just hit them for a ton of damage. Yeah, so that's it for the Sprite line there. I'm playing the 1 Totally Awesome still because, you know, out of the gate, why not? Super solid. Next, I'm playing the Soul Sweeper. This card is just so good. I seriously chose this over Mannequin Cat still because, like, you just move a monster off the field and then you just beat him. Like, there's just stuff you just don't have to worry about with this card. This actually won me a few games the other time too because they had a monster and I was like, oh damn, that's crazy. Anyway, get it off the field, I'll hit you for game. And then for the last XYZ monster, I'm playing 1 Zeus still. I've still not actually made Zeus. I've only just, you know, I've gotten close to it, like where I feel like I could go into Zeus, clear the board, and then I would just not need to. Like, the deck just had so much on its own that Zeus was definitely not necessary. I like having in here just in case those games at like higher competitive spots like regionals or winner boxes. But But yeah, at the time being, Zeus is just in here as a last resort. But yeah, definitely keep Zeus. So that's it for all the XYZ monsters. For the links, we're playing Dark. Seriously, really good in the mirror match. And then against Tier, you can steal their Merle. That way you can have another Tier to go into. Next, I'm playing the IP Masquerena. IP just because you go into Unicorn and then Abramax. Of course, Unicorn, really good still. A lot of folks weren't expecting Unicorn for some reason. Like, Unicorn's just such a good card. Gets rid of your Mirror Jade. Like, Mirror Jade's been coming up way too often recently for me, so I like to have this to shuffle it back to the deck and see if they can try again before I set up everything. Abramax, a lot of folks still have trouble against Abramax, which I find hysterical for some reason. Abramax has won me a bunch of games. Really good against other decks too, like if you're playing against Towers or like someone's got the Attic Nister Link 6, you just make this and you climb over it. And then of course the last card I'm playing is Access Code Talker, just a really good final finisher, pop some cards that it can't respond to. And yeah, this whole deck has been super solid. I love every bit of it. I love the way it's been playing. I'm glad mine's banned, because that way, like, I like the cosmics and everything inside, but like when it came to time, it was just fucking me over. But yeah, that's kind of about it for the main deck. Let's move on to the combos. Alright guys, before we move on to the combos, make sure you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We're super close to 1,000, and hopefully we can get there early in the year or something like that, but I'd really appreciate it, guys. Don't forget, big tournament, awesome prizes, giveaways, all that awesome stuff once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So to start off the combo part of the video, we're actually just going to do one card combos first. The very first one is just with Nimble Beaver. Nimble Beaver by itself sets you up an Omni Negate and then Elf. So pretty much you just get to Toad and then that's just off one card. So you get a normal Beaver, Beaver effect, get Angler, then we're going to get Angler onto the field. So a lot of folks are, if you remember the old combo, you didn't really use Angler more than once. But now that you have Sprined, you can go Beaver and Angler to go to Sprined. Sprined then drops your second Angler, and that gets you 2 more Beavers from the deck. So we're just going to go ahead and then dump the second Angler there. And then the Beavers come back out in pairs. So you get 2 Beavers on the board. Card went flying. And then from here, you're actually going to use Sprine as one of the materials to make Gigantic. And the reason you do that is because you do need the Link Zone for Elf. That way it protects the Toad. You go Gigantic effect. Pitch to Beaver, summon out Swap Frog. Swap Frog then dumps another Swap Frog. And then here you'll use the Gigantic and the Beaver to make Elf. Elf then targets the other Swap Frog in your grave. And then use the effect again. I like playing 3 because, well, 3 always comes up. And then, there you go. It also helps deck thins. I mean, and then if you open up Swap Frog and Angler, you just pitch again, which I will show in a second combo. Alright. And then from here, you just overlay these 2. Oh, and where's my Toad? There it is. Alright, so off of 1 card, just Nimble Beaver, you get this board. And this board is really good, also because you have 4 other cards in your hand, so you can end with like a Fenrir on top maybe, or Double Cross, and another Trap, Eradicator even. Depends on what your board looks like, you can end with a really awesome setup, and then just lock your opponent out of a lot of plays, or just make it really hard for them to play through it. Alright, that was the very first 1-card combo. Let me show you a second 1-card combo. Alright, so for the second 1-card combo, we actually have Sprite Starter, funny enough. So this card by itself gets you the exact same board I just showed you, and then you end with either Double Cross or Starters again, just from 1 card. And the fact that I like playing this card is because a lot of folks think they may have like locked you out, done a bunch of other stuff, but if you can get into Sprine, or if you still have Beavers in the deck, you still hit the board a lot, and then they just can't stop you. So, Sprite Starter, the only thing does, again, this one does lock you in the 2s right off the bat, but it's still good because most of your stuff's 2, so it doesn't matter. So, you go Sprite Starter, and then you go for blue, there it is, and then you pay your 11. Blue effect to then add you Jet. You can then special Jet, and then from here you have 2 choices. You can either go, oh, I guess 3, hold on, let me grab Smashers. So, depending on where the game is or what the state looks like, if you're going first, I would either grab Double Cross or Starter, depending on what your matchup is, and then Smashers if you're cracking into a board, that way you can start breaking part of their board. And don't forget, you have 4 other cards in hand, so, or I guess technically 5 because you're going second. But yeah, seriously, these cards are just all so good. Going first, for the sake of the video, let's do Double Cross. So I'll put these 2 back. And then from here, you're actually going to, so this is going to be my hand, I'll put that way. I'm going to link these 2 off, and we're actually going to do the exact same line, but with just the sprites instead of the nimbles. So So you go Sprite, Sprite then drops Angler. Angler effect gets you 2 beavers. And don't forget, you haven't normal summoned yet. So the fact that you get this part of the combo is really insane also. So we're gonna just show you the first line, and then if you want to do another crazy bit of it, you can. So we're gonna just make the gigantic again. Gigantic effect. You swap frog then dumps. Where is it? Alright, so from here, this is where we're gonna branch off. So you can either make the exact same board where you use these two to make elf, or you can actually use swap frog to bounce beaver back to hand and then actually normal summon, so you have another body. So for this, let's just go with the normal line first. I just want to show you that this is how you get to the exact same board. So you go Sprite, Alpha, Gigantic in that. Then you go Elf, target Swap Frog, bring it back. And then you send the third Swap Frog just to make your deck thinner, and in fact to get all your Swap Frogs in grave. For the most part, a lot of folks actually crowed one of the frogs, not knowing I played a third. So if I managed to get a third one into the grave, I still made Toad anyway. And I think that surprised a lot of people. Alright. Then you make your Toad here, and you enter your double cross. So with this line here, you actually end with 3 Omni Negates. So in that scenario, you pass to your opponent, you will go Toad for 1, so that goes in grave, and you add back water, right? So you add back beaver. That's cool. Double cross can then bring back Toad. So another Omni Negate. 2 goes to grave, add you another water. I always like adding the Angler also, just because I can just pitch it off and then I'll grab that third beaver from deck if I didn't do the normal summon again. And then you use Elf when your opponent has a monster, bring back Toad. Third Omni Negate, send it, and then I actually add Swap Frog back. That way you have extra cards in your hand, and the fact that you can just go Swap Frog, pitch the Angler, and get that beaver out. But seriously, off of 1 card, you get that board and that many interactions. So just Sprite Starter gets you 3 Omni Negates, pretty much. So let's take the board back to where it was with Gigantic, Swap Frog, and Nimble Beaver, where we'll bounce back the Nimble Beaver and get you your normal summon, and then see what the board gets you. So coming back to this board state right here, we still have the Gigantic, Swap Frog, and Nimble Beaver. You haven't normal summoned yet because you've gotten this far with the combo with just Sprite Starter. So go ahead and use Swap Frog to bounce Nimble Beaver back to hand, and then conduct your actual normal summon. Beaver on normal will then actually grab you Angler from the deck. So the reason I'm doing that and not like another beaver or one from the grave is because that way you don't draw into your Angler later on in the game and then have nothing. So this is also kind of like deck thinning at the exact same time. And I like to actually use these two here and go for a Sprite Elf. That way you leave your Swap Frog and your Gigantic. So Gigantic at 32 is really good also. You go Elf to bring your Swap Frog back from grave, and then it dumps the last Swap Frog from your deck when I find it. There you go. Alright, and then you make Toad. So with this board right here, you actually end with an additional body, and you can technically still do the 3 Omni Negates, or you can use Double Cross's other effect to steal and put under Elf's zone, or attach it to one of these ranks right here. So Gigantic can then get another material, or Toad can get another material, whatever. But if you're going to do it for Toad, don't do the material thing. Use this so you can bring back Toad and get 3 Omni Negates, or then use Double Cross to attach a Gigantic Sprite. So another reason I like doing this line and leave Gigantic Sprite at 32 is because I also play Eradicator in the main. That way you guys can just, if you happen to open it as well, which is awesome because I actually open it pretty often, you could set that and then on draw phase, tribute this, look at their hand, and then play around that. So they had, 3 spells in hand, you have 3 Omni Negates. You start taking them out, 1, Double Cross, bring it back, 2, and then Elf can bring back the last one, so you stop your opponent. But yeah, this deck is just super, super insane. You got all this off of 1 card, by the way. That was just Sprite Starter. Yeah, that was just super insane. Alright, that is all the 1 card combos I want to show you guys. I gotta keep the spice to myself, gotta hide some secrets. But let's move on to the 2 card combos. Alright, so for the 2 card combo, one of my favorite combos is opening up any Kashtira and then Beaver. Unicorn's probably the best, that way you can look through your opponent's extra deck. But Fenrir would actually work too, mainly because you just get another body. But in this purposes, we'll go Unicorn. So we'll special Unicorn, use the effect, and you'll add Bird. That way you can actually revive Unicorn, use as a combo piece. So pretty much all it is you end with 1 extra body off of the 1 card combo we did with Beaver. So just go ahead and play it out. Go Beaver, Angler. Just gonna start sliding cards and flying through it real fast so you guys don't have to watch the same thing over and over. Sprite. And go Angler drop. Angler effect, bring out 2 more beavers. Oh, where's my other beaver? There it is. Okay, so from here though is where it gets a little tricky. What you want to do is make sure you can actually bring back unicorn before you do any of that. So what I like to do is I like to put these two overlaid and make gigantic. Link off the unicorn and the beaver to make you elf. Activate birth. Birth then revives your unicorn. Then you can use gigantic. So what's really cool about the board right here is that gigantic and unicorn are actually protected by elf right now from targeting effects, which is super solid. That way you're not worried about getting imperm or veilored on gigantic right here. And the fact that elf actually hasn't used its revival effect yet still means you end with a toad on top of all of this. So that means you don't even have to get rid of gigantic, and if you happen to have eradicator as well on top of all this, it's just over for your opponent. Like, what are they going to do against toad and unicorn? And like, there's just so much against them right now. So, right, this is like my favorite combo to show off, just those two. So you did this all with just unicorn and beaver, and I mean those two cards you play a lot, like you play max of each, so you're gonna see it a lot. Anyway, let's just continue the combo. So gigantic effect, detach the beaver, and we'll go swap frog, dumps, elf revive swap frog, dump the third swap frog. And then I think you guys see where we're going here. Here we are. And that was off 2 cards, just unicorn and beaver. So the cons about this board is that the fact that toad isn't under Sprite's arrow, which is what you mostly want, just to protect it from like getting imperm randomly. But either way, it's not going to really matter, because the other thing is too, if you choose to take that, you can negate the imperm, then you set the imperm on your side, so you have a negate follow up on your turn. And I mean, like I feel like that's a slight trade-off. It's not too bad. But other than here, I mean, you could, if you played it around, you could make elf over here and make the toad over here, and not protect the unicorn. You just want to really protect the gigantic, because a lot of folks are going for imperms and veilers. But other than that, I do like leaving unicorn out here. Toad doesn't really bother me too much if it gets protected or not. I mean, a lot of folks know they have to hit this, so a lot of folks are going to target it anyway. I'd rather people go for this for the imperm rather than elf later on. That way I can still bring back toad. And then from here, also, like I said, if you guys happen to have eradicator on top of this, you can just eradicator tribute the gigantic sprite because it's a 32. Look at your opponent's hand and play through what they have left. So I've ripped out, I think, 4, 5, you know, a bunch of different spells. There's a picture of me ripping from my friend AJ's Sky Striker deck. This is 7 spells. It was insane. No, this card is just so nuts. I destroyed Flunder with this, unfortunately. He was a really good player. I appreciate him not getting too salty that I was main decking this. He was very surprised too, and I was like, hey man, it works. I get to this line pretty often. Yeah, it's just, this whole thing is just so solid. But yeah, so what you ended on was gigantic sprite at 32, totally awesome, elf, and unicorn with birth. So if they even activate a spell, you can banish 3 cards from the graveyard also. And if they activate a monster effect, you look to their extra deck. But yeah, super awesome 2-card combo. That is probably my favorite combo to do once I see those 2 in my hand. Alright, let's go on to another 2-card combo. Alright guys, for the last combo in this video, I'm going to show you guys the 2-card combo with Swap Frog and Angler. Unfortunately, you do draw Angler sometimes. And then the reason I play 3 is because when you need 2, you have to have exactly 2 to make gigantic. But the 3rd one can come up to discard Angler, and then you still full combo. So what I like to do is go Swap Frog, summon itself with pitching Angler, chainlink 1 Angler, chainlink 2 Swap Frog, gonna dump the Swap Frog, and then with Angler, you're only gonna summon up 1 Beaver, because it says up to 2. It doesn't have to be exactly 2. So that way you can conserve your resources and then actually use Beaver to keep comboing off and then get a better board. You're gonna go Swap Frog effect, target the Beaver to bounce back to your hand. Remember, that was a special summon, so now you can commit your actual normal summon. Go Beaver. It's gonna be weird on this one. You're actually gonna summon your 2nd Beaver. And I know, normally that's not what we're doing, but you need to keep the bodies flowing enough to keep that 2nd Beaver when we go into Sprine here. Sprine's gonna dump Angler, and then that Angler is gonna special summon out your last Beaver. So you need to play around that carefully, make sure you don't spam the board too fast. You gotta kind of make sure you keep the right amount of resources around. So from here, you're still gonna play the normal line. Gonna make gigantic out of the Beaver and the Sprine. Gigantic effect. So, now that we have Swap Frog already on field, we don't really need to summon another Swap Frog. Now you can go to your Sprite line. So we'll go blue to add Jet, special jet. Then remember, you can add either, depending on your matchup and like what game it is, you can go either smashers, double cross, or starter. So for the sake of this one, let's say, because we did double cross earlier, let's say we did starter, right? That way we can summon out Karud or something on your opponent's turn and negate another card. So depending on what the rest of your hand looks like, if you happen to have Eradicator, leave Gigantic Sprite on board. If you don't, I like to get rid of it just in case. A lot of folks are going to make it a prime target of some sort. So they'll try to crash into it. If they can steal it, they'll hit you for a bunch of damage. Depending on what you have, it's the Eradicator gets rid of it for you. If you don't have Eradicator, I'd get rid of this. If you have Double Cross, actually, leave it. You know, just depending on your hand, you know. So we're going to link these two off here. Make your elf. Elf grabs back the Swap Frog. Swap Frog then dumps the last Swap Frog. Alright, and then from here, you make your Toad. And then you set your starter or whatever card you decided to pick off, and then you have 3 other cards. So if this was from your 2-card combo of Swap Frog and Angler. I hope you guys enjoyed today's updated Sprite deck profile and combo part of the video. A lot of you guys have been asking for combos, and I apologize for taking so long. If you guys enjoyed the video, remember to please like, comment, and subscribe. A lot of you guys watch my videos but aren't subscribed, so please subscribe. Leave a like, comment, interact with the video, help the algorithm out, and I will see you guys in the next one.